On the paper talk, we're looking at who Manchester United's new manager could be after Ralf Rangnick. It seems Rangnick and the board have settled on a potential successor, and it isn't Mauricio Pochettino, so let's check it out. Jay here for Stretford Paddock. This is the paper talk. As you can see, I'm outside Old Trafford and it's mild, a little bit windy, and it feels like it's spitting, get 'em in. Most of the stories this morning centre around still the fallout from the draw against Southampton at the weekend. I don't know why I'm laughing because it wasn't funny. There's been loads of comments and post-match analysis and post-match punditry, whatever you want to call it. We've also seen the usual rounds with social media posts by players. I don't need to go into it. You know what it says. It's, the usual fare about we go again, we need to do better, this hurts us, all that sort of stuff. We know we need to improve. Those have been doing the rounds. David De Gea's done a post. I think Jadon Sancho's done a post, one or two others. Or their PR teams have done the posts on social media, however you want to look at it. There's also been a few stories about Ralf Rangnick's comments after the game. Ralf Rangnick mentioned the fact that, one of the reasons that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was sacked was because of the club's position or the team's position in the league and how top four wasn't certain. And a few people pointed out that it's quite rare for a manager to fire shots at his predecessor, if you want to call it firing shots. You also had Ralf Hasenhüttl, if I'm getting that one pronounced right, talking about how he knew United's weaknesses, how, in reverse we weren't very good and all that sort of stuff. I'm paraphrasing. And that's quite rare for a manager to point out the opposition's weaknesses, especially when you consider Hasenhüttl and Rangnick friends and, old acquaintances at least, shall we say. So there's been a few comments that you don't usually see after a game. And obviously there's been the usual sort of, I don't want to say meltdown because I think a lot of it is pretty reasonable, but there's been the usual reaction from a lot of the pundits and also fans as well, like myself, like all of us. We've all had something to say on Saturday's game because it was very disappointing. And yet again, for the second game in succession, or the third game in succession actually, United failed, 1-0 up and we can't hold on to get a win. And this is a trait going back to the Villa game where we let a 2-goal lead go. And it's something that Ralf Rangnick has to address. He really does have to address because it's costing us points and it's in danger of costing us the chance of getting into that top four and getting Champions League football next season. Now, some of the talk this morning as well, and this is over the weekend, is about Donny van der Beek. Had a very good debut, home debut for Everton. Played in their win over Leeds and did very well, and Frank Lampard was praising him. I've seen a lot of Everton fans praising him as well. Some people saying get him back immediately, get him back here, end his loan spell now and get him back. Be interesting to see. I don't think that's going to happen. Be interesting how it pans out with Donny van der Beek because he's quite a popular player here with a lot of fans in Old Trafford, and the feeling is if he can go to Everton, if he can do well, if he can prove that he's got the temperament, the physicality, the aptitude, whatever you want to call it, to play week in, week out in the Premier League, then maybe he can come back here in the summer and start next season as one of our main midfielders. Now, a big story doing the rounds this morning, centres around Ralf Rangnick's successor, and it seems that Ralf Rangnick and Richard Arnold and the powers that be, the United board, are in agreement. They've reached an agreement between themselves on who that should be, and Erik ten Hag is the favoured successor to Ralf Rangnick. Now, I stood here not long ago saying that the players wanted Mauricio Pochettino, and most of the people in the comments were saying we don't care what the players want, especially not these lot that currently way a lot of them are playing. I don't think they should have a say in who comes here. It's not up to them. And most of the comments were sort of saying that it should be a board decision or the hierarchy decision or whoever, the club's decision, rather than the players' decision, because there was a feeling that a lot of the players would just want someone who's going to come in and give them a bit of an easy ride. Now, you can argue about whether that's the case or not. I think there's a fair point to be made there that would these players want someone who's going to come in here and make it hard for them, or when I say make it hard, I mean push them. Really pushed them, because we've had a few reports, haven't we, that players aren't happy with Ralf Rangnick's training methods. There's players criticising Chris Armas or mocking him, calling him Ted Lasso after the television show, the character there, the American coach on the television show there. Those are comments that Gary Neville wasn't happy about. He said they were disgusting, I think he labelled them. So a lot of people saying it shouldn't be up to the players who should come in. It should be up to the powers that be, shall we say, here at Old Trafford. And it seems the powers that be, including Ralf Rangnick, favour Erik ten Hag. Erik ten Hag obviously having a very good season with Ajax, having a very good spell as Ajax coach. He's done well there. He's got them playing great football. He's got them winning trophies, being successful, been flying in the Champions League. He seems to be the preferred successor to Ralph Rangnick. Now, lots of things can happen between now and the end of the season, and I said this the other day when we were talking about Maurizio Pochettino. It may well be we have to wait and see what happens at the end of the season. If Maurizio Pochettino does a madness and wins the Champions League or whatever, then he may well stay at PSG, or he may do a madness, be really successful. PSG may say, we don't want you anyway, and then United may say, right, well, he's just won the Champions League, he's just won the French League, which I think he's nailed on, let's get him in. On the flip side, Erik Ten Hag could implode, he could, have a disastrous end to the season, and people may go, actually, he's not the one. I can't see either of those things happening, to be honest with you. I think Erik Ten Hag's going to have a successful season. I expect Maurizio Pochettino will win the French League. I don't think he'll win the Champions League, and I don't think that'll be enough to keep him in his job. I think there's too many things going on at Paris Saint-Germain where players aren't happy with him, where there is a little bit of disappointment. They didn't win the league last season. They're already out of the French Cup. So I think he's on a bit of a hiding to nothing there. And I expect that if these reports are truthful, we've seen him in several newspapers. One of those newspapers is in the Sun, so I don't give much credit to that, but other newspapers are covering it as well. That the board want Erik Ten Hag, and if he's the main man and he's the one that they prefer, I think he'd be a good choice. He'd be my personal choice if anyone cares what I think about this, because I think Erik Ten Hag is a sort of manager that can come in, and he's an up-and-coming manager. I know he's 52, I think he is, so he's not like he's dead young, but he seems like a manager that is going places. With Maurizio Pochettino, I just don't know with Maurizio Pochettino whether he could come in and challenge the likes of Pep Guardiola, Jurgen Klopp and Thomas Tuchel. I feel with Erik Ten Hag, there's more of a chance he could. There's a better chance he could. He feels like a sort of manager who the sort of the expectation there, the belief might be there with him that he could challenge at the very top. He's got that air about him. Now, you may disagree, get involved in the comments and let me know whether you do or not. But for me, it would be Erik Ten Hag, and it seems like, according to some reports anyway this morning, that Erik Ten Hag is the preferred choice by the Manchester United hierarchy. And like I said earlier, that could change. We could end up with Maurizio Pochettino, or even someone else. Who knows? There was talk the other week, or I think it was last week, that Luis Enrique is also on the shortlist, and there could be some sort of manoeuvre, shall we say, where Ralph Rangnick sees the season through, this season obviously, carries on until after the World Cup, and then Luis Enrique, who's a Spanish manager, comes in after the World Cup. That seems a little bit unlikely, even being honest. Now, Luis Enrique, if you look at his record, he's won the lot. Very successful manager. Okay, he inherited a very good team, Barcelona, but he did good things with it. He's done well with Spain as well. So I don't think too many people would be moaning if he came in. Well, you never know, do you really? I think some of us moan about everything. But I just think the sort of the way that would have to happen, it just seems a little bit unlikely to me. I think in the summer we need to get our manager in then. And I think a lot of that is why, at the minute, we're not certain on transfer targets. We know Declan Rice is a transfer target. I've covered that so many times I've lost count. It's almost becoming the new Jadon Sancho transfer story. There's also talk of Fabrizio Romano, who's been on this channel several times, so apologies there. He was saying that United want to see the next managers before they name a transfer target for a striker, but they are looking at young strikers. He has a feeling that it's going to be a younger striker that comes in because we need more firepower. We know we're going to lose Edinson Cavani in the summer. The story's doing the rounds that he could be going to Barcelona, or at least La Liga. It seems that's his preferred destination, and that's likely to happen because he's a free agent in the summer. So we do need another striker because we don't know what's happening with Mason Greenwood. There's a good chance he might not play again for Manchester United. We'll have to wait and see. There's a good chance that Andy Martial may not play. I know he's gone to Sevilla on a loan move. He got a couple of assists, I think, in their game the other week. But is he going to come back? I'm not so sure. Even Cristiano Ronaldo, we don't know what's happening with him. And even if we do, he's 37 years old. So we need some more longer-term options. And it looks like we might have to wait until the next manager comes in until we see who those options are. Anyway, that's been the Paper Talk. Make sure you are hitting the subscribe button on the channel. Let's get to 670,000 subscribers by the end of the season. With your support, we can do it. Check out the merchandise as well. We've got loads of merchandise, including some new cups or mugs. Yeah, you can make your own jokes about, that's the only cups United are going to see here and all that jazz. Yeah, right, yeah, hilarious. And don't forget as well to check out the members section. We've got members-only videos there. Extra content for you guys as well. I'll be back later on with Stephen Howson. We'll be looking at this weekend's game, and we'll be having a little bit of a rant meeting. We're putting the world to rights. So make sure you check it out. I've been Jay. This has been the Paper Talk outside Old Trafford, where it's beginning to rain. Why does it always rain on me? Thanks for watching.